Hey friends, this is Tim Kelly, and I am so glad to be back after a couple of trips, photography trips, teaching, and conferences. Back now in the studio, working regularly, and now we are back to master photo techniques to bring you something new every week once again. Hey, today I'm going to talk to you about simple image enhancement using only neutral density. This is what I do a lot. And I've shown you one or two examples. This is another one that I just completed, and I felt it was worthy to give you a quick lesson on how to do it this way. There are a lot of ways to do these kind of enhancements using blending modes and layer modes, but I use usually just a neutral density, and I'm going to show you today exactly how we do it. This past week, I was doing a photo shoot, just kind of a mixed personal one on my wife's recommendation for Father's Day. So we did a really cute shot of our three dogs. But amongst that shoot was a particular image of one of the dogs that, was kind of cute, but I thought it needed some extra dynamics. And I'm going to show you today how I took this regular natural light photograph basically and made it look a lot more light painted. And of course you can't really paint light on a moving subject, but nevertheless this kind of gives you the feel. So we're going to take a look. First, here's the image that we did for the advertisement, and it was kind of cute, and it's real. All the dogs had ties on. This was the ad. I don't think Dad needs another tie for Father's Day. And yes, I have multiple and duplicates of my ties because everybody knows I'm a big Beatles fan, so I pretty much have them all. But it was a good little ad. And I'm going to show you next the image we're going to work on today. So this was a whole lot of fun. Again, Laura's idea just to throw some of the Beatles stuff. She had this old, from her childhood, 45 record case, and I had these Beatle ties, and she had these 45s, and we put one of the dogs, we carried it over from the other set with the group shot and attempted to do this. This is just one of a couple poses we did, and it was cute. It's cute, but it's not magical, I put one of my guitars in the background, and this is closer, I think, to the shot that we picked. And then here should be the version that has more of the dynamic, light painted feel. And I'm going to show you how to do that today. We'll take it back one, just to show you again. That is the image. Now, I don't think there's really any retouching on it. Don't really generally retouch dogs. I think it's pretty much straight. So this is the one with just a layer added. And I'm going to show you that now. So we open the image in Photoshop, revealing just two layers. We have the original image right there, and we have the added density layer, which isn't as much as it seems. It's already faded to 88, but here's what it looks like. That is all that's been put on that second layer, and this dark spot was just to cover something that was too light. So that's the extent of the retouching. So pretty cool how you can take this nice, clean, accurate snapshot to something with a little bit more drama. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and take that layer off. All right, and actually I'll get rid of it. Just throw it out. And we're going to make a new one. I'll show you exactly how we would do something like this. One way, of course, is just to take a blank layer, but I often will just duplicate the main layer. This is one of the two techniques you can use. Duplicate it and then just add neutral density. My favorite is adjust brightness contrast in a normal layer and take it down further than it needs to be. I believe 30 points is a stop. 60 would be 2 stops. So we're taking down brightness and contrast. Might even go a little further because I can still see it well. I like to exaggerate because we're going to fade the final layer. So here, I think I'm going to go in there somewhere. All we've done is made the duplicate layer that is much, much darker. Okay, then we're going to do some erasing of the image area, the highlights. So we're going to go to our eraser, check its size, check its opacity, make sure we're on the right layer. And I'll go even a little less to start, maybe 25, 24. And I'm going to erase the dark layer just a little bit. I'm going to have some left over where I can go in and really do some highlights. But right now, I'm just going very softly to add illumination to the little dog. Now, on the guitar area, I wanted it to be a little dappled. So what I did with this, let's make it a little smaller and maybe a little bit less. And then just come in and put a highlight here and a highlight. That's a little rough right down there. You know, just to give it that little dapple light effect. And same thing on the light up the tie a little bit. The records, let's just look at that layer. That's what we've done so far. Now we'll take a bigger brush, staying at the low 15 opacity, and we're just going to bring in that light, give it a direction. Diagonal direction's good. All right. It's doing a lot. You don't even realize it, but we could actually make that layer darker if we want still, because we can always fade it. So this, now when you want to get into painting some edges, if you will, and again, this is just a really fast version of what we could do. And I didn't spend more than 5 minutes on this original, but we can take this at a little higher amount and give it some highlight. Looking good there. There we go. So you just give it some dimension. Make sure those gentlemen on the tires are lit up pretty good. That was too much, went into the black. Here we go. Look at this. Looks nice. And then while we're small, we can go lesser amount, and we will erase put some lighting back on the puppy. Okay, right there. There we go. Just like that. Make sure all those little highlights are popping out. All right. Always get those eyes open. And again, here is how much we've erased there. But let's look at the difference once again. All right, there we go. Taking no time at all. All right. And you can still go in now and make more changes. All right, then let's say over here, perhaps we might want to darken this down. We can do it a number of ways. We could do it with a burn tool, and that's always a pretty good way to go. Just see what it does. Yeah, just take it down a little bit so it doesn't take your eye away. And we might want to go in and put a highlight on the rim of this box and the handle. Now, even though it's not the focus, and that was intentional, you know, to make a very shallow focused image. Sorry, wrong tool. Eraser. All right, and bring some of these highlights back. The top of the box is very nice, and just give it a little gradient feel. All right, and that looks pretty nice. And we go a little more on that side. A little more opening on the dog, a little more on the record. All right. And I think we've cleaned all that area out pretty well. You could always go in tighter to this. See, there's a little graying of the end of the dog's hair. See how bright the difference is? You could always go with the soft one, with a small brush, softer. And even that's 33, I thought it was 12%. We can pull back some of the very edges of the highlights so that there's no perception of the doctoring that we've done. Okay, hopefully that makes a lot of sense to you there. So that's a good way to bring your whites back to white. All right, looking good. And there we have your finished image, dramatic, dynamic. You can always do further work, maybe a little vignette kind of thing on it. So what we can do is probably I'll go to this layer and use a big mask, maybe like 200 plus, and do the vignette, and then inverse it, and then hide it, and go back to, you can do levels again or curves, but I tend to like this because what happens with brightness contrast as opposed to levels is you don't get any amplification of color or saturation. I find if you do levels and you do a great deal of darkening, just like burning, you're going to get an increase in saturation generally of your colors, which you don't necessarily want. Okay? Yeah, there we go. But again, equal parts of brightness contrast will keep it from being too heavy and obvious. And we can fade this as well. All right, let's go ahead, say okay. Then we're going to go image or edit and fade. Fade what we've just done so we can look at it, see how much we want to keep. I think I like what it's doing in general, so I'll keep a portion of it. All right, and then we have it. I think the only thing that look how big that difference is. Oh my. And we can fade the master here. What do you think about that? I think that's pretty cool. Let's take it away. There's your original photograph, a good, clean, well exposed, well lit photograph, and then you make it so much more dramatic and so much more artistic because literally you're painting with light on top of the image. This would be like impossible in a darkroom to burn and dodge like this. So this really becomes a pretty magical technique. So let's go ahead and commit, flatten these layers. Let's make sure we like, that's 100% layer 2. And we can fade anything in between, whatever makes you happy. I feel like it's really usually pretty close to full. So I'm like at 90, 95%, and I'm pretty happy with that right there, 96%. So I'm going to flatten that down and save as, and you of course name whatever you like. This one's going to be just 0.2 and a PSD, but it can now be a JPEG. All right, and that's done. Let's take a look back and forth one last time. So as we review the original, the one we just made today with neutral density, and the one that I had made previously and showed you, the only difference was I think I sampled the color out of the wall and added some of that tint to it, so it would be kind of like a wash. That's all for today. Thank you guys for being with me. It's been a pleasure, and stay with us on Master Photo Techniques.